Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another race for our league playoffs. I am Tepedino, and I'm here with Koi.
Hi.
Okay, then.
Hi! Hello. Hello. What's up? How's it going? We haven't even changed the scene yet. We gotta wait for them to change. Okay, now we can talk. Alright, go.
All right, everyone. Once again, good afternoon, and welcome to another league race playoff. I am Tepedino, and I'm here with Koi.
Hello. That's right, this is a league race between Walther the Fourth and NilssonAlex92. This is, I think, game 2 between their two teams. So this is an Ambrosia seed, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I believe it's Ambrosia seed, and I mean, at this point, you probably already know, but if we're playing Ambrosia, that means we're going to have a standard open with it, so we get a sword and everything, and every boss is going to have an item, so no keys, no compass, no maps on the boss.
Yeah, every boss will be one of the item locations of the dungeon. So, like, for instance, in Tower of Hera, there's only 2 items. So as soon as we find one, we know the second one has to be on Malormic and skip every other location. But the big thing with Ambrosia is at the very start of the game, the uncle will have some key info for us that we need to actually read and pay attention to. Don't just mash through it like you normally do.
That's correct. At the beginning of the game, we're going to have a hint of where our boots are. So let's pray for not a Ganon's Tower hint.
And most of the time it just says, like, in the light world or in the dark world, which is, like, not at all helpful even a little bit. But, you know, we can always hope that it says something nice.
Oh, you gotta love that light world one. There's, I don't know, 80 checks, 80 items. It's gonna be easy, right? It's just gonna drop right on top of the lap. Yep. So I am not as, and they started. I was going to ask about the runners, but instead we get that the boots are in Death Mountain. So more specific. I like that.
Nilsson changing it up and walking around to the right of the house. It is slower. I don't know why he did that. It just doesn't matter that much, though. Just a second.
And we see Walter showing a little bit of pumping there for the beginning of the skate kind of style of regular speedrunning in this game. So yeah, Uncle does not have a lot of things.
Yeah, Walther's movement definitely a lot cleaner than Nilsson. I mean, even now, like, we're only a minute into the seed, and you can already see Walther has generated a lead for himself just through movement. So you can really see, like, how big of a difference throughout the course of an entire seed having clean movement will have.
And we already see a few differences here because it's a standard opening. You're not.
Walther and Nilsson headed through the escape here. Of course, Ambrosia is sword assured, so they're both pretty well equipped for doing this. Just like in the vanilla game, 1 sword, 3 hearts. That's all you need, and they have 4 hearts. So there you go.
Yeah, we had a full heart at the right of Uncle. Another thing that's important for Ambrosia Seed is that they really want to find bombs at the beginning so they can check the back of entrance. Unfortunately, it seems that the guards are not in the bomb pack prize.
Right, the guards are in the magic pack. So, like 90% of the guards are going to be dropping magic pots and will not drop any bombs. They'll have another opportunity for a different prize pack from the rats, but those won't be until the back of this game.
And since we've seen the map, we know that the key is in Zelda's cell. So aside from drops from the rats, we do have one more chest that could be bombs. But I don't know how much they're hoping there.
Yes, to chat, green guards, blue guards, and the ropes, aka the snakes, are all in the exact same prize pack, so no different items from those. The rats are the only out there opportunity.
Whoops, my bad. I forgot that we could actually check the Dark Cross chest.
Dark Cross is a key.
For the key. Yeah, I just said that I thought it was for sure a key. My bad. I apologize. Still, it remains that we won't be seeing bombs in chests unless they find an actual bomb from the rats to open the back of the gate.
Yeah, we're out of opportunities for chests. All that's left is those rats. There's 3 different prize packs that can have bombs. But you know, even if the rats don't have bombs, it doesn't really matter because everybody has the same prize pack. So if Walther doesn't get bombs, neither will Nilsson. The big difference is if the rats do have bombs in their pack and one of the runners finds it and the other doesn't. That's when we see a difference maker. Again, these ropes that Nilsson killed a rat. It's in the arrow pack. Okay, apparently Walther doesn't know that ropes are in the same prize pack. And neither does Nilsson, killing every single one. Somebody should make like a guide or something explaining how this works.
Okay, so we have arrow packs on rats. Is that what you're saying?
There will be no bombs.
Okay. Well,
the drop we're looking for from our first rat kill is either going to be a bomb itself, which would be awesome, a small magic, or a heart followed by a fairy. Those are the only 3 packs that have bombs.
Yep. To be fair, until you told me, I did not know that the guards and the snakes were in the same.
Yeah, but you're not the one racing in the tournament playoffs. It's okay if you don't have that information. I expect more from these guys. Come on. I'll make fun of Walther and Nilsson later during the interviews. Don't worry.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that must be a reason why they're in playoffs and we're not, right?
They know better. I'm sure they know. They're probably just tournament nerves. That causes you to forget things.
So far, we had a very uninteresting bunch of checks. Walther is going straight up to Lost Woods, and I'm guessing Alex is going right after, or maybe you're going to have a Naga check there.
Alex is going up to the Lumberjack check. He'll get a tree pull here, just like Walther, although he probably shouldn't have killed that the pickle first. That'll be their tier 2 pull, and then if they both kill an enemy and then do another tree pull, they'll get a tier 1 pull.
So we have Blue Mail at the hideout, and Piece of Heart and Mushroom Spot, and so far Lumberjack doesn't have anything.
Yeah, and Walther, so dismayed at this lack of bombs and rupees, says, all right, fine, I'll go to the bushes. There are 2 bushes south of the grove that have a 50% chance each of carrying a bomb. And with the transition right there, it's pretty quick to reset if you don't get lucky. Walther did not get lucky and will have to reset. One bomb is nice. He'll definitely want to have at least 1 more. I mean, ideally he wants 4 bombs, but 2 is going to be fine. Nilsson, however, has no bombs and no rupees either, but instead goes straight to Kakariko. He's just going to gamble on Blind's Hideout and the well, having bombs for him. This is my preferred play here. I hate those bushes with a vengeance. All right, we got a hammer, 50 rupees. We can buy some bombs at least, and a piece of heart. All right, so Nilsson unfortunately is going to have to double dip Blind's Hideout to get that last item, but he will be able to just go buy bombs now and not take the same risk in the well. Walther, after his bomb farming, and immediately gets rupees to just buy some bombs, which he will do, completely negating his rupee farm. Oh, Nilsson, why? Nilsson, oh, he went to the well. And he got burned. He could have just bought bombs, but he didn't want to walk all the way south. And said there were no bombs in Blind's Hideout. There's definitely bombs in the well, right? Right? Did I lose you, Dino? I lost Dino. He'll come back later, I'm sure. Alright, Nilsson. one final dig just in case to save these rupees. No such luck, has to spend the 50 rupees.
All right, I'm back. I apologize. I had a small emergency here with this isolation and everything.
No worries.
All right, so far I see that we have the true go mode going out, aka shovel for those who aren't in the joke, and hammer, and where did they find that red mail?
Oh, I have no idea. I have not a clue, dude. Whoops. In places and in things. I've only been to Kakariko, so it's probably in Kakariko, but I don't know. I don't see the mails. Like, you guys see the mails. I don't see the mails.
So chat is saying that chickens had the other mail. So,
oh, there you go.
Well, we have a lot of protection for the beginning of this seed.
Yeah, it's just a habit from being a runner myself. Is when I don't see the mail upgrades, like, because I just don't have room in my brain for things that aren't progression. So mail upgrade, 5 rupees, 10 arrows, it's all the same. I'm sure these guys are the same way. Have trouble tracking things like that. Just don't notice it. Especially Walther, whose sprite is does not change very much when he gets new mail upgrades. It's just the color of that little hat.
That's fair. I guess I started tracking it when I switched from regular to randomizer, but I don't know. I was just looking at the trackers here and saw a difference in mails. Oh, I see. Alex is backtracking because they did not have bombs at the beginning.
Yeah, Alex had a really unfortunate route through Kakariko. He gambled on Blind's Hideout, having bombs. It didn't. And then he gambled on the well, having bombs, despite being able to buy some, and it also didn't. So then he had to go down and buy bombs, and then go back up for the check CMS, and then go back down for the library. It was very sad. Walther's route worked out a little bit better.
So we had our first map check here, and we see that Eastern and Hera are crystals, and we have a green pendant for Desert Path.
Walther taking down Agina's Cave for some more rupees. And Nilsson finds bombs in the shovel spot. Where's the progression? We need things. Always and forever, more things.
Yeah, so far, I'm surprised on how not so generous this seed has been.
These make for the best seeds, though.
Fair. They
The
could
the
go...
fastest seeds always have like lots of really early bottlenecks. But that doesn't always make it a competitive seed.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure that we can have a seed where we're all having a blast and they're absolutely hating it. But hey, that's what they signed up for, right?
We get our first bottle in Mini Moldorm Cave. We can go to Sikid, turn that in, but man, Kakariko's pretty far away. Imagine Walther will wait quite a while before going there.
We do have a lot of money for Zara, though, so they could take like a short detour and
Yep. Zora is definitely a check that they can do. It is out of logic, however. No gloves and no flippers. And then even if they sequence break to it, they wouldn't be able to do the nearby checks, the Zora Ledge or the Waterfall Ferry, making it even less valuable. Now, a fake flipper to like just hobo isn't completely out of the question. It's very similar to Walther walking over to Agina's Cave super early. And it does look like that's what he's going to do. It's just like an out-of-the-way check that isn't really nice to route in at any other time anyway.
So we have our second blue goo, and well, we're getting out of a check spree, running out of check spree fast.
We still have quite a bit more over in the eastern area, but nobody really wants to go there. Walther having a little trouble setting up his fake flipper here. An easier way to do it would be to just drop a bomb and let it push you into the transition, so that you don't transition. But Walther is trying to just like walk to the right pixel, which is significantly more difficult. But he does get it in the end. And this should be just for hobo. He might check the island as well. Nope.
Can always check the island on the way to Eastern.
This hobo check definitely a significant time sink for Walther, but it definitely pays off. We found an out-of-logic hook shot. Walther, why are you fake flipping? Don't go to Zora. Walther, don't go to Zora. Oh my gosh, he's gonna go to Zora. Nilsson finds his glove, which does put Zora into logic.
And we see that the island doesn't have anything interesting. And we'll get a Zora check pretty soon here.
So I definitely have a hard time agreeing with this check from Walther. Zora, from Walther's point of view, Zora is not in logic, and it's also isolated. You can't do any of the other checks around it. So like coming here doesn't make a ton of sense, but that doesn't mean it can't have progression. So with his gloves, Nilsson says no thank you to Eastern Palace and heads straight to back of escape. These 3 checks we were unable to do on our first pass through the castle. And of course he gets the mirror from Zora. Of course he does. Of course he does. Oh my god.
So Koi, how would you feel if you were playing this scene?
Wow, I'm not friends with Walther anymore. No, that guy, no thank you. I don't like him anymore. He's a bad person. Of course, the mirror doesn't do anything for him at the moment. Like when he gets his glove, I guess he can sequence break up to Hera. But he can already do that with the hookshot anyway, so the mirror just represents one single out-of-logic check on top of Spectral Rock for him. And it's possible that there's other things, like in Waterfall Fairy, that Nilsson will be able to do when he checks that with Zora. Who knows? It doesn't necessarily mean Nilsson's like losing or anything, is what I mean.
And Nilsson has found the fire rod, the back of escape, and I believe that Walter will see that pretty soon.
Yeah, Walther headed towards his fire rod now. Nilsson did check Sick Kid, although I don't think we got to see what it was.
Nope, it's a surprise for everyone, apparently. And to add insult to injury, we had two chests in the back of escape with bombs.
Nice. Yeah, so we have mirror out of logic, we have hookshot out of logic, we have hammer and glove in logic, along with fire rod, but nothing is accessible logically. The only thing that we can do that's in logic right this second is Eastern. So naturally, both players going up the mountain. Oh yeah, the mirror's in logic, you're right. But the mirror doesn't do anything, so it doesn't matter. I mean, why would you go to Eastern when you know it has progression? When you can just go to the mountain? Honestly, this isn't a bad play. The item locked in Eastern is likely to be the lamp at this point, which would just give access to the mountain anyway. So since we already have the fire rod, it makes sense to try and skip that.
Yeah, it's either a lamp, flute, or some other fetch quest, right?
I mean, I think the most likely item for it to be is just the Moon Pearl. But, you know, the Moon Pearl probably just immediately leads to the lamp or flute. But, it really could just be anything that unlocks an item location. I think we'll probably see Eastern Palace this seed. It's just a matter of when.
And so we see Cave and Spectacle Rock Cave, and both are going for it. Nilsson decides to save and quit there. Oh yeah, right. They don't have the mirror, so they could, however, have checked the right. Oh, they don't have the hook shot either. Jeez. Okay.
And also doesn't have he didn't pick the flippers. I don't know where he's going. Why don't you just go to Eastern?
I believe we're gonna have a.
Is he walking to Zora?
Yes, I believe we're gonna have a Zora check here. Another thing that could be in Eastern is just flippers, and
sure. Or or the mushroom, or the powder, or the mitts,
Fair,
or the
fair.
boom pearl. So like the it can be anything. Is anything that unlocks an item location is in Eastern. But the one thing we do know for sure is that there is an item in Eastern that does unlock an item location, which makes it hard for me to say, yeah, let's go to Zora instead. Which is weird because like I'm typically the person who's like really against the Eastern dive without the bow, but in this situation, yeah, absolutely go to Eastern.
I guess there's another thing that pushes them to the mountain, which is the Pegasus boots, which Walter just found at the bottom of Paradox Cave. So
You didn't know
there
that
is that.
were there.
Well, it is a good guess, I guess.
Oh wait, he did know the boots were there.
Yeah, we
Because
have
it's
the hint from the
Ambrosia.
beginning.
Right.
Yeah,
It's Ambrosia. I forgot
And-
about that already.
and along with that, Walter finds his Titan's mitts. So, well, as soon as we find that Moon Pearl, well, we're already at that point. But yeah, Titan's mitt, it's a nice thing to add, especially if they find Moon Pearl here in Spiral. Oh, so Walter's gonna use that Titan's mitt to check which medallion opens Turtle Rock.
And admire ice and a red crystal at pod.
Do you know where the other red crystal is?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Clip. Apparently it was Eastern, is what chat says. Alright, now that he has the mirror, it does make more sense for Nilsson to go to the mountain instead of Eastern. But, sure, I guess. Alright, and Walther does not find the Moon Pearl.
I guess we will see that Eastern.
Did Walther not do Hera?
Walter did not do Hera. Interesting.
Why would he not do Hera? I can't understand these guys. They make no sense to me. Why wouldn't you go to Hera?
I have to say I'm very confused about this play. I wonder if the logic finally hit Walter and he realized that there is certain progression in
You
Eastern
think he
and
just
just
now
bailed out
realized?
of it.
I don't know. I feel like he knew the whole time that there was something in Eastern. He was just hoping that it was the lamp. And then he does part of the mountain and says, "Okay, it's probably not the lamp." Like,
It's either that or they're saying, let's give something for the commentators to
now you
speak
leave.
off.
They leave because the Moon Pearl's in Hera. The Moon Pearl is almost definitely in Hera.
So we did find a flute.
And
At
the flute
Eastern
gives that's logical access to the mountain. Everything on the mountain's
to
in
the
logic now.
mountain. That's correct. In the meantime, Nilsson is doing a hammer fight with Moldor. 3 hits, no problem. Walter found the second item, and
Ambrosia.
yep.
There you go.
Yep, they remembered.
Was that both items in Hera?
I believe so. So,
It's Kingstown.
do we have a checkerboard? Maybe?
Oh yeah, checkerboard too. That's in logic. Absolutely.
All right, so we have a Kingstone check here. And Nilsson's probably going for their Spiral Cave. And there we go! Moon Pearl in Kingstone, so we do have access to Dark World now.
All right. So at the end of the day, despite everybody doing things that make literally no sense to me, we do finally have Dark World access.
And
no crystals.
I believe forgot to mention, of course, that at about 25 minutes we did have our first crystal with Nilsson finishing Tower of Era. Which, I mean, 7 crystals is the goal, so it's important to remember, right?
Yeah, I guess.
All right, so Nilsson took the opposite path of Walter and is now going up to Paradox. Gonna find their Titan's Myth and the Pegasus boots.
Yeah, he had to do
Walter-
it this way because he didn't have the hook shot.
Yep. Walter does make the lumberjack check, sees that nothing is there, and just on the way to activate the flute and get the first portal to the Dark World.
All right, so hopefully now that we have Dark World access, like the runners start doing things that make more sense.
I have to admit that I really want to see you play the seed.
Well, I mean, like, I'm not saying that the way I want to route the game is definitely the best way to route the game. I'm just saying that the way that I route the game makes more sense than what they're doing.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not saying you're one-upping them or anything. I'm just saying it looks like it would troll you a little bit.
I just don't understand why Walther didn't do Hera before going back to Eastern.
I admit that I don't know.
That's the weird. Like, of all the things that they did, that's the weirdest one. Like, I get like not wanting to do Eastern in the first place and going to Zora instead. Like, that's fine. It's like a lower percent play, but it could pay off, and it did pay off in this situation. But why not do Hera? That's the weird one.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. Do you think that maybe they momentarily forgot that they had the hammer?
Well, he has the mirror anyway.
Sure, but if
You can
you're
get
on
there
the
from both
right
directions.
side, it would be you'd have to go up the mountain again, and after a save and quit. So maybe I don't know. I honestly don't.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, the hair is a crystal. Is the big thing. Like, you have to do it anyway, no matter what. You always have to go to Hera. Well, Walther having trouble in this mummy room. Very disgusting room if you don't do this, like, one strategy.
Yep, worst room in the game. At least if you ask me. Ooh.
Thankfully, the
trolling.
wall master, which normally trolls you in this room, he literally cannot spawn if there's too many enemies still alive. So Walther not killing either Bari means that the wall master isn't gonna come and ruin his day.
But Koi, what is this one strategy you're speaking of?
So when you walk in the room, you go straight up, slash the Baris, pick up the pot, throw the pot while moving down right to the bottom corner of the statue. Pull the statue down just a hair, and then move over to the right side of it and push the statue while alternating up and down until it's lined up, and then move to the top of the statue and pull it up to victory.
There you go, folks.
It doesn't make any sense when I say it out loud, but if you saw me do it, it would make sense.
I think it was a very good explanation there. Other than that room is very hard. And I believe we'll be seeing Fighter Sword Modula here from Walter, or Hammer. Probably Hammer. And Hammer does not have a very long hitbox, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, Hammer is very difficult to hit Mothula with from below, like Walther is attempting. It's a bit easier from the side, but it's also easier to hit Mothula into spikes that way. So you really gotta play out your options. Walther does a really fantastic job of it, though. Takes down Mothula as if he was nothing.
Yep, and for those, if you're not don't know, Modula is coded in a way that whenever it hits the spikes, it takes 0 damage. So if you hit it, it bounces onto the spike. Your hit did nothing.
Yeah, this is actually a mechanic that applies to all enemies in the game, not just to Mothula. You see this often with like sword beams, where like you'll slash something that you normally one-shot with your sword, but because you had sword beams, it takes the sword beam damage instead and lives. So it's very similar with Mothula. If I hit him with something that does a bunch of damage, but then he immediately touches spikes, which do no damage, then the spike damage overwrites what I did. I'd say to be very careful both with where you touch Mothula and also where he is when you touch him. It makes Mothula a very disgusting fight in general. But Walther did a just simply amazing job with the hammer fight there.
Yeah, and still, Walther did have red mail, so there was a lot of leeway there for a longer fight. Walther goes back to the front of Skullwoods to find that other item. Finds a small key on the right, compass on the left. And
Nilsson also doing a great job there. He used a variety of equipment, but it worked. By golly, it worked.
And we have Lamp in Skullwoods, so yeah, that would have taken a while. So,
already having done both the boot checks, Walther's going to come over here just for Graveyard Ledge. Graveyard Ledge is a very orphanable location. So Walter's taking this one single opportunity of it not being completely terrible to take care of it now.
do you think we'll see catfish after that?
No. I mean, it's an option. Like, he could do that. I don't think it makes a ton of sense, though, because, like, Thieves is a crystal. So continuing on this route to go south on the West Dark World makes more sense.
Okay. And apparently Walther agrees with you and is going to check Dark Kakariko and possibly Thieves now.
Lamb makes a second item in Skullwoods for Nilsson, so he is done here. And move on. Walther continuing on into Village of Outcasts, where he immediately finds a friendly bee in the bottle.
We have so many defense resources in the seed so far.
So definitely worth pointing out, Nilsson never went to Eastern Palace to get the flute. So from his point of view, everything that he found on the mountain, the mitts and the boots and the moon pearl leading from those boots, are all out of logic behind mountain access. And finding that lamp in the Dark World means that he should know exactly that there is an item in Eastern that is the flute, or at least leads to the flute. I don't think he's like super worried about the flute location, especially with Myra being a pendant, but it is a nice item to have in general and does lock a few other locations, like all of Desert and Mire Shed and Checkerboard.
And Nilsson's going back from Graveyard Ledge. I guess his house are going to Thieves now. All right, since there's no flute, they have to walk back.
I think this is faster than fluting anyway. I'm not sure exactly. I think with the boots, it's definitely faster though.
Yeah, I do have to agree with that. And you also get to check the sea house as you come from the right. Walther having a little bit of time. How do you usually call those enemies that look like pink balloons?
The Patricks?
Oh, you also call him Patrick's accent.
Yeah, everybody calls
I
them
did not
Patrick
know that.
Stars because of the character in the kids show with the
SpongeBob. Yep.
SpongeBob. Yeah.
All right. I wasn't sure that if was also called that. So
I don't know what they're actually called. Like they have an actual name. That if you go look on like the Link to the Past wiki or something, I'm sure there's a name for them. But we call them Patrick Stars.
I'm sure if we've opened the wiki, we'll see Patrick there. I'm 100% sure. And you don't have to check what I'm saying. All right, Walter, moving their way into Thieves down here, and we'll probably have a couple more checks in the cage and a big chest. So far, the only big difference we have is that Walter has already been to Eastern, so they found the flute, and we still have that out of logic hookshot, which, while it may not have opened a few many checks, it is a very good thing to have in your arsenal.
Yeah, my big concern with the hookshot right now isn't so much like Swamp Palace, because I feel like whenever Nilsson finds the flippers, he would definitely check Hobo before he'd go into Swamp without the hookshot. But there is no guarantee that he's not going to go to Dark Death Mountain without the hookshot before doing that. So if there's something like locked in hookshot cave and that happens, Walther definitely has a big advantage there.
Walther starts the way into the blind fight, does the second stage, no problem. And does the third time for the script fight, no problem.
I think that's the first time I've ever seen Walther do the blind script.
Really?
For the longest time, I would say like, Walther, walk me down to do the blind script. He's like, I like the way I do it. And he had a way that worked, but it wasn't like as optimal. So I guess at some point he said, you know what, I'm going to save those 5 extra seconds. And he went and learned the blind script. Good job, Walther. I'm proud of you.
I mean, it doesn't get much better, and even though they had Fighter Sword, which, believe me, those 2 pixels can take you out of the script quite quickly. So yeah, let's see if Alex actually achieves the same thing. Although we do see they have a little bit less hearts. Still, Red Mayo shouldn't have a lot of trouble. And Thieves Town didn't really have anything there.
Yeah, Thieves sounds super empty, but I don't think either player feels bad about it, because Thieves Town is one of those dungeons that doesn't really get faster in go mode, and it being a crystal, you're going to full clear it every time anyway.
Oh yeah, it's still better to have a crystal, nothing Thieves Town, than have a pendant Thieves Town, and a Master Sword for Walter out of the Good Game.
Yeah, definitely a nice pickup there. It doesn't do anything for us at the moment, except make our lives so much easier. Looks like Walther is going to continue on and do the Smith Chain on his way to Hype Cave.
So we have a little bit of difference in Alex's
Alex was definitely off script there, but
yep.
It got the job done. That's what's important, right? Like, not dying to a boss is the goal.
Oh, absolutely.
And as far as it being a non-scripted fight, that was still really fast. Just a few seconds different, I'm sure.
Yep. The only difference that for phase 2 they were on the left, so they had to walk a little bit to hits 2 and 3 off stage of the second phase. but didn't have a lot of problem with it. And so at 40 minutes, we have 3 crystals for Alex, 2 crystals for Walter. Checks the dwarven smiths there. And finds a piece of heart. Not a lot of interesting things so far. And Walter shows us a little bit of hookshot strats. Usually, if you had the purple chest with you, you wouldn't be able to dash. However, if you hookshot and you start your dash before the chest gets to you, you can actually dash with it. Okay, 45 with a lot of nothing. Good question.
We're definitely gonna want the flippers by the end of this scene.
I guess they could be Palace of Darkness. Walter takes their time to actually check the shovel spot, dig spot here, since they didn't at the beginning. Finds Uncle Bombs and like, no, thank you. And goes back to the Dark World.
Walter leaves behind his purple chest. He does not need it anymore. This is a glitch called Invisible Purple Chest. If you leave the chest in the Dark World, the very next time you go to the Light World, if you are standing next to that guy, he will let you turn in the chest anyway. It's very free. This isn't like as long as he's like on the screen, you'll get it.
So Walter is on the way back. I believe we see a hype cave check and probably pod afterwards.
I'm not sure if that's what he does afterwards. Like, he still has like Dark Death Mountain available, which is a very dense amount of checks. Although, of course, he knows that it's out of logic. The hookshot cave ones, at least. A bow here could change things. Oh, look, a bow here. So, we'll instead almost definitely head to Pod and Easter.
Talk about an epic foreshadowing.
Now, I imagine he's gonna not check the pyramid because Pod and Eastern are our 2 red crystals. So upon doing these dungeons, which he's going to right now, he will get access to Pyramid Fairy, which he could pair with checking the pyramid.
So I guess Walter went there for the scenic route a little bit.
What?
They went around the front of pod a little bit. I didn't understand why instead of just dashing up. Never mind. I'm just paying attention.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about. He went the normal way.
So when you enter the area of pod, you just dash right and dash right up. Instead, they went around the tree that has the red word. I don't know why.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so the reason he might do that is because he's scared of the murder dactyl. If you mess up that dash, like if you don't get that dash correctly, right up next to the right of the tree, the murder dactyl will get you, and he'll get you every time. So if you're not super comfortable with that dash, it's very dangerous to do it. Nilsson opted to do a Gina's Cave instead of Hype Cave, so he did not get his bow. I'm sure I'll just go to Hype Cave now, though.
Very nice mimic room from Walter there. Chat does make a good point. Maybe that they might have forgotten they were already in the dark world and we're in the way to the portal.
Yeah, sure. Oh, Walther! You missed a bunk.
Beetles are not being nice to Walter there. And we have our first medallion. Eater medallion for Walter there.
And Nilsson also gets his bow from Hype Cave and headed straight to Pod and Eastern. Is that the move you're talking about? Nilsson just did? He went to the left of the tree instead of the right of the tree?
No. They Walter went all the way around. Like they
I'm not
passed the dactyl and everything.
Oh, I don't know what he did then.
I'm
He
guessing.
did Walther things. Have you seen the Walther clip? There's a specific clip of Walther that we call the Walther clip.
I have not, but I would love to see it at some point. And we did find the big key for Walter in the vanilla position, so I believe we'll be seeing a bomb yum here.
There, I put it in chat for you. I'll keep track of what's happening, and you take a look at that clip.
All right, thank you.
Walther finds a book in Palace of Darkness. Book doesn't do a ton for us, just opens access to 2 locations. We already have access to Desert through Flute and Mitts and Mirror.
That may have been one of the greatest clips I've ever seen.
It's a pretty good clip. Oh, Bombos as well. Possibly giving us access to Misery Mire.
And we do have the Eater medallion, which is for Turtle Rock, so might be done with medallions already. Who knows?
So anyway, that clip is anytime you have a question like, why did Walther do this? Or why did Walther do that? You just have to remember that he's also the person that did what happened in that clip. And then it starts to make a little more sense.
Oh, absolutely. Wow.
We got Easter and Bombos and the book here. This is a very high value pod.
Ooh, half her heart left for Walter. Not gonna have sword beams unless the mimics give them something, which is gonna slow down a little bit the back, but not a lot.
Or the heart.
Or just pick up the heart.
Ask and you shall receive.
Yep. This
Yeah,
seems.
sword beams are really nice here. Both to hit that switch right there, to hit it with a beam instead of an arrow. And then also in this next screen, it's going to save you 2 menus if you have sword beams. So like without sword beams, he'd have to menu to like the bow here, and then he'd have to menu back to the hammer. But instead, he can just stay on the hammer the whole time and beam that switch. It doesn't seem like a lot, and it really isn't like a lot, but it adds up. Little things like that throughout the course of an entire save. Ton of time.
Oh, absolutely. And Turtles did not give Walther a very good RNG there, so had to work with what he had, what they had. Does a very nice hammer dash, but unfortunately stops a little bit too early. And we have a fight against Helmasaur King. 17 hits to the mask and break the mask, and then we either get 4 hammer hits to the crystal on the forehead or 8 slashes of Master Sword. And apparently, Walter is going for the sword threads. And does it. No problem. Ooh, flippers.
Oh, hey, we're in logic.
53 minutes in, that hook shot is now in logic, people.
So that's like, it's like good and bad. You know, flippers are an item that we definitely needed to find. We were looking for it to make the hookshot make sense again. But now it means that the ice rod could also be behind the flippers, which is sad.
So Nissan is on the way to fight Helmasaur King as well. The only thing I'm thinking here is that the big difference going to be is how long Nissan goes to check Hobo for that hook shot. I know earlier you mentioned that as soon as we found flippers, yeah, they would go there, but you
No,
think you would?
I don't know if he'll go do the flipper checks immediately. I think he will definitely do flipper checks before doing swamp, is what I say.
Oh, gotcha.
So there is a possibility that he like goes up to the mountain without the hookshot, though, because even without hookshot cave, it still seems pretty dense to go up there.
Yep. And Walter
it's
knowing
not high priority at the moment.
And Walter knowing this is an ambrosia seed already found both items, just beeline straight to Armor's Knights, because, well, you know the 30 items there. So, just to a reminder for everyone that got here later, this is an ambrosia seed, which means we had a standard entrance with sword assured, and at the beginning of the seed, our uncle gave us a hint of where the boots would be, which in the case of this seed was Death Mountain. And the other thing about ambrosia is that bosses will always have an item. There won't be compass, maps, or keys at the bosses. They always have an item. So because Walter already found 2 items in Eastern, they know for sure that the third item is in Arma's Knight.
And it is just a piece of heart.
And as Walter finishes Arma's Knight, Nilsson finishes Zelmasaur King and finds flippers. And, well, I'm looking forward to see what we'll see from that. Oh, so there's another thing. They found the book in Palace of Darkness as well.
All right, so this is where we're going to see some major divergence. I mean, Nilsson obviously is going to do Eastern Palace next, but after Eastern, he's not going to have the hook shot, so he's not going to be going to Swamp like Walther is right now. It does look like there's a little bit less than a dungeon difference between them. Eastern, Nilsson hasn't done, and Hera, Walther hasn't done, but Eastern is a slower dungeon, so it is evident of a little bit of a lead there for Walther.
Oh, absolutely. Considering for Hera, if they do in go mode, there's literally just a Hera pot, and going to Moldorm, it takes about 2 minutes to finish.
Oh yeah, Hera's like super duper fast with a Hera pot. I think I could probably finish it in less than a minute. Now that you say that, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
like if I was just going in there and killing Moldorm and skipping all the chests with Hera pot, I think I could easily do it in less than a minute.
Yeah, depending on equipment, your fight with Moldorm takes about 20 seconds. You have the cutscene, which is another 15. Or, sorry, 10. I don't know. Yeah, something like a minute and a half. it'll be fine. So we see Walter dipping in swamp and finding
There's always
the
always a
camper
sword in
store.
swamp.
Oh yeah,
Always a
absolutely.
sword.
So
It's
now,
like it's so weird
oh, go for
that
it.
there's always
What's
a sword
up?
in swamp. It's so weird that there's always a sword in swamp. There isn't really, like we're exaggerating, there isn't always a sword in swamp, but it is very likely. And from personal experience, it feels like there's always a sword in swamp.
So the items we're waiting to find here in the seed to finish are the ice rod and the. Well, you don't even need the King of
Hey.
Samaria. We're at the point where we only need.
No,
we do.
need
Turtle
the
Rock. Never
We
mind.
totally need
Never
the
mind. Never mind. I didn't say anything. Don't clip it. So yeah, we do need the King of Samaria to finish Turtle Rock. I apologize for that.
Nilsson also doesn't do top right.
Interesting. So we.
Yeah, it's gonna be a slower kill. I don't think it's. I mean, it's about as slow as Walter's, I guess.
And Walter is going the regular way there, so. Oh yeah, I do want a double hover. So yeah, and a lot of hovers there. So Walter decided against the dive down. So that goes the regular way. Finds the B key. Not gonna check right now. Probably on the second way around.
You know, I haven't been watching much racing or commentating much these last couple of weeks since the diver down and icebreaker tricks were allowed by the racing council. I haven't seen anyone do diver down at all since I came back.
Really?
Did people not do it? I didn't think it was like a super difficult trick or anything.
I mean, it's not really. In a way, it's much simpler than AirPod, for an example.
So I guess it's just a
know.
coincidence that the races I've watched happen to not have people do it.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, is it just the bomb version? People don't do the bomb version?
It could be. I mean, it's fairly simple. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I know that the Cane of Samaria strat is more popular.
Yeah, the cane strat's like super easy. The bomb strat isn't like difficult or anything. It's just you have to stand on the right pixel. It saves a fair bit of time though. Like I think like 15-20 seconds or something. So like unless you're really, really slow at finding the right pixel, like it's still a time save to do the bomb strat.
So now we're having both players check our Bombos tablet, and the difference here is that Nilsson still has to go in Swamp Palace, but Walter is already done with it. However, we didn't get a left side / big chest check.
Did he? How much did he leave behind?
I
wasn't watching.
At least one item, because they found the big key.
So Nilsson's definitely not going to go into Swamp. Like without the hook shot, Swamp looks like a really terrible place to be. But he can go up and do Pyramid Fairy. So it looks like we're going to have a little bit of sync. Screen transition on screen transition. And then Walther immediately pulls ahead.
Well, at the beginning we did show, we did say that Walter had a little bit better movement, and I guess it shows. And as soon as I say that, Nilsson pulls ahead. Yeah. Walter is abusing that hook shot.
Nilsson was ahead, and then he lost it to menuing. Oh, then he gained it to Walther messing up his bomb dash.
What a race, folks! What a race!
Nilsson taking the edge. Slow and steady wins the race.
And so far in this small race, we had Nilsson winning here. Piece of heart, a pyramid, not very interesting.
Nilsson wins. GG. For silvers and nothing.
Oh, so we have vanilla silvers there. And I guess that now we have the flippers. We'll see catfish and waterfall fairy as well.
Nilsson just getting bodied at every turn.
I think Nilsson forgot they had a... Well, just went the other way around. It's fine, regardless. And Walter doing the quick warps right there by bunking. And ooh, we find a magic powder.
So this is a little concerning for Nilsson though, because he paired the big bomb with this catfish into Zora checks. He was unable to do hobo on the way.
Sure,
because he had that big bomb following him. So that hobo is now a little bit orphaned for Nilsson, and I'm not as sure when he's going to go do that.
Right now, probably they could just enter the whirlpool and go check.
Oh, okay, yeah, I guess this is a pretty reasonable time to do it.
So we have a check on Lake Island, Hylia Island, and
oh yeah, and because he already did Zora. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Thinking that he already did Zora and checked the ledge, he doesn't need to go there anymore. So this is a one-way trip to Hobo.
So Nilsson has not activated a flute yet, but probably not a lot of difference yet. And so Walter's gonna be able to check both Eater Tablet and finish Hera if they want it. At this point, I assume they're gonna enter it.
Are you sure Nilsson didn't activate his flute?
Never mind.
Because I guess he did that when I wasn't looking. I was all getting ready to make fun of him for trying to flute without activating it, but then the bird came. And I was like, wow. Oh, Tempagino just lied to me. I see what happened.
I mean, what do I know?
More than me, that's why I trust you.
All right, so Nilsson's gonna do the swamp play here, and Walter's finally gonna finish Tower of Hera.
Yeah, and this will be the final amount of backtracking for our runners. Like they both have done all the same things following these two dungeons, and at the end of it, Walther should be a fair bit ahead. This is quite a bit faster to do Hera here than Nilsson's going to spend in Swamp.
Oh, absolutely. And then we're on the way to find where the ice rod is. And a cane of Samaria, of course, because I totally...
Yeah, this seed is going to...
We need it.
The seed is going to be all on the back of the decisions that they make following their respective dungeons. I think it's going to be a pretty easy decision for Walther to just go over to East Death Mountain from here. For Nilsson, that's not as obvious. Like, he does have other things that he could do as well, such as fluting to the mire area. Now, it is good to note, though, that we are 2 items from Go Mode, not 1. So they both can pick different places and both get progression.
So we haven't found the mushroom yet, right?
No, I don't think so.
So how about mushroom and laser bridge for ice rod.
Sure.
Which
I think the true answer though is that if one of them finds the ice rod first and the other finds the cane first, the ice rod player has the much bigger advantage.
Oh, absolutely. Because if you find the cane, we'll just go to
Yeah,
Turtle Rock.
Go straight to Turtle Rock and hope that the ice rod's in there and that you're done.
I'm still interested to see if Nilsson's gonna do the left side of swamp there.
If Nilsson knew that he was behind right now, I think he would absolutely do it. Because like that's one of the ways that he could make a huge difference over Walther, who did skip whatever was left behind in Swamp. But our runners are completely blind to the other. They have no idea what the other person has done or not done. And going back into Swamp for like one item, it feels pretty bad. Hookshot Cave starts with bombs. That's not so good. Arrows is not so good. More bombs. And some rupees. Alright, Hookshot Cave sucks.
Jeez, that doesn't happen very often.
What is this, Hype Cave 2.0?
That was so bad. Hopefully Super Bunny can make up for it. And Nilsson also does not dive down. I guess that the bomb dive down is really not a thing.
It's totally a thing. I do it every scene.
Oh, I mean, it is a thing for me too. I'm saying today. Okay.
Yeah. So Nilsson there, he had the tools to stop it, but he got the stair glitch where the stairs like push him back downstairs.
Well, how do you stop that?
With the boots, you can stop it by just dashing into the side of the staircase, like if you dash into the staircase off center, you will not get the stair glitch as long as your first input at the top is left or right. The other way you can do it is by doing essentially a key dash into the staircase. Line up on terrain in the room and dash turn into the staircase.
Interesting. I honestly did not know that. So we had a big chest check for Alex, and apparently we didn't get anything.
Yeah, which is a map. So there definitely is something on the left side of Swamp.
It was a map?
Yeah, map in the big chest.
Okay.
All right, so East's Dark Death Mountain ended up being pretty empty. Walther does not have any like great options left. Everything left is like Isolated Overworld and Pendants. And he's going to start with Magic Bat here, hoping to steal this victory progression from one of the more isolated checks. Fortunately, just 3 bombs. He has to go somewhere else. So Walther's options right now are Pendant Ice Palace without the Cane of Samaria, which is gross. Pendant Mire, which is gross. And Pendant Desert, which is slightly less gross.
Well, Desert Palace is also a green pendant. Oh, they didn't. Did they check checkerboard?
No, I don't think they've done checkerboard in Mireshed. That'll be the first thing he does before the dungeons. All right, Walther headed over to the Mire area. Nilsson going back into Swamp Palace for the items left behind. Walther did not do this. If this is progression, Nilsson has a huge advantage.
Ooh. So at 1 hour 11, almost an hour 12, we do have... Ooh! And Walther finds the ice rod. I apologize for interrupting myself there. But at 112, we do have both players with what, 6 crystals each? But Walter did find that ice aura there.
So this is ideal for Walther. So finding the ice rod first means he doesn't have to worry about gambling TR for the ice rod. And Samaria is just straight up go mode for him. So now I'm a little worried about Nilsson, because even if Nilsson finds progression over here, it's going to be the Cane of Samaria, because we know where the ice rod is. And if it's the Cane of Samaria, he probably is going to Turtle Rock without the ice rod. So it becomes full clear the game versus double dipping TR, which is the worst.
Do you think it would depend on how long Walter goes back for that lonely chest on the left of Swamp?
Oh, he'll full clear all three of these pendants before doing that.
Yeah, and by that time, I think that we would have Nilsson check Meyer Chad maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is, like, if Nilsson say Nilsson does find the Cane of Samaria over here, the standard play is to go straight to TR, where he won't find the ice rod, and then he'd go to Meyer Shed, and then he'd go back to TR.
Oh, I absolutely agree with you.
Walther is going to full clear desert, full clear Meyer, full clear ice, and then go to Swamp. So it's whichever is slower.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. Do you think that checking the whole TR would take longer than checking?
I think Nilsson would have
dungeons.
the advantage. I think Nilsson had the advantage. Double dipping TR is not as bad. Unfortunately, nothing mattered anyway. It wasn't Cane of Samaria and Swamp, and Nilsson is undoubtedly super behind. He can still make it. All he has to do is go to the Meyer area right now. Okay, that's good. He's going to the Meyer area right now. He's going to get the ice rod.
I think he heard you there. All right, so we do have a race then. It's going to be a close one. Nilsson checks for the medallion, finds out that he's also ether, so no problem there. No troll quake.
Okay, now that Nilsson has his ice rod, he's in a good spot to not lose the race. But now he has to make the right decision on where the cane is. And I think we've narrowed it down to either Green Pendant or in Misery Mire. Is there anything else that we've forgotten that they haven't seen?
Well, I'm gonna ask because I'm a little bit lax on the
Ice Palace
logic.
Forgot about
yeah, I was about to ask, does Ice Palace necessarily is Ice Palace out because we don't have the Cane of Samaria?
No. Ice Palace, like the majority of Ice Palace is usually in Logic without Cane of Samaria.
Oh, okay.
And often the entirety of it is in Logic without Cane of Samaria.
So,
okay, so Walther's banking on Green Pendant, going straight to Sahasrahla to turn this in. It wasn't there. Desert's not the answer, and that's unfortunately exactly what Nilsson is doing, going straight to Desert.
I wonder if we have Nilsson check Meyer as soon as they're finished here, or instead just going to
ice.
Going to I figure Walter would go to ice since it would take the same time to arrive to the dungeon, but ice has an extra item. But since Nilsson is already there, do you think they just try for Meyer?
No, I think he's going to do the same thing that Walther did. What Walther did is what made the most sense, right?
Yep.
Like, Desert is more items than Meyer, so you do Desert first, and then you get the Green Pendant, and after you spend all this time getting the Green Pendant, you want to know right away if it's worth it, so you go turn it in, and then once you've turned it in, you're a million miles away from Meyer, so obviously you go to Ice, which is more items. The only way I see Nilsson going into Meyer right away is if he's like, if he has neuroses, where he's like, oh man, Walther's better than me, so I better do weird things to win, which can sometimes pay off, but he hasn't been doing stuff like that the whole race, so I don't think he would start doing it now.
Yeah, considering where the items were, this wasn't the kind of seed that told you that made wrong choices. It was really more of a things are in weird places.
Yeah, unfortunately, our runners will be unable to do the icebreaker glitch today. You do need the Canis Mario for that, which is our go mode item.
So yeah, none of the tricks, the new tricks that were allowed in the league, were seen, and Walter is having a bad time there with a bomb jump.
The fun part is that because he's looking for the Canis Mario, there's no point to doing the bomb jump. Because the whole point of the bomb jump is to bypass a Canis Mario requirement. But if there's a Canis Mario requirement, you don't want to kill the boss anyway, because he doesn't have the cane.
Yep.
But it's okay. Muscle memory is a very difficult thing to overcome.
It's Ice Palace. It doesn't make sense. Ice Palace is so weird. Oh yeah, actually, if you can't you actually access the boss without the cane by looping around the dungeon? So Mario is not necessarily in logic for code stamp.
I don't think small key on the boss is the only way that Samaria is logically required. I gotta think about it. It's hard to imagine the key logic for Ice Palace sometimes.
It's Ice
But
Palace.
You're right. I didn't think about it being Ambrosia, and that the boss always has an item.
Yeah, if you think about vanilla logic, you only get Samaria and Meyer, and theoretically, Ice Palace comes before that, so you shouldn't have to have Samaria to finish it. So yeah, it could be here.
It looks like Nilsson is going to Dark Death Mountain.
Nope,
so
not there.
Unfortunately, Walther is last locationing the Canis Maria, but it looks like Nilsson is going to do the same. Then Walther already being ahead means that he will maintain that lead. Yeah, Walter is out of checks. He has to go to Misery Mire. And it is possible that Nilsson goes to Mire before Ice Palace, but like he'll still be behind Walther, who is going into Mire right now.
Oh yeah, Walter still has left side swamp to check. So if it's not here, I don't think there's a lot. I don't think there's anything else to check, right?
No, it's just Mire. I don't think there's anything else.
Yeah, we're at this point we're pretty much out of checks aside from Meyer. So
did we see Ether Tablet?
I believe Walter did Ether Tablet when they went to Terrafera. So yeah.
Yeah, then it should just be Meyer.
Yeah, he can't be on pedestal because Visitor Meyer is pendant. That's why Walter noped out of Ice Palace Ice Palace pendant. And of course we have a Godmire.
Walter should just go straight to Victorious, right?
Right.
I'm sure Victorious has
totally
the key to somewhere, yeah.
Nilsson checks that sad hook shot cave and is on the way to check Spike Cave as well, which we unfortunately know that there won't be a Kano Samaria there. It's also going to check Ether Tablet, I believe. Yep. Walter is on the way to the west, to the two checks on the left of Meyer. Have this check, and then probably the cutscene check. Meanwhile, Alex is using the hook shot to get into Spy Cave. Cutting a little close there with the menu for Cape, but no problem.
Couldn't just be a nice seed with nice item locations. Had to be a French vanilla cane seed in Painted Mire.
It could be vanilla still.
Okay, sure.
Ooh. So
Walter getting punished hard for doing the cutscene chest. What were you thinking?
You never do cutscene. Never.
I probably would have tried to skip it and gone for the other checks.
And we have Nilsson going to Ice Palace, so yeah. Even at this point, unless we're forgetting a very forgettable check, Walter's going to find his Kano Samaria here, and it's a vanilla Kano Samaria. So at 124, we have go mode for Walter.
Go mode.
And as with everything we saw on the seed, it's showing at this point Walter had the lead most of the seed, and at the later points they did the same things, but finding that came unless we see a lot of unusual things here. The story is, as they say, in the stone. How do you say it in English? I wouldn't be. I don't know.
I don't even know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, never mind. It's English is weird. I apologize.
And that's the way it was. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
Set in stone. Thank you very much.
Set in stone.
Yep. I appreciate the help.
I never heard that before.
Walter making their way into Turtle Rock and probably going to go mode that, which doesn't change a lot, but still makes it a little bit faster. Nilsson on the second attempt makes the bomb jump, but falls right after. So third time's the charm. So goes through there, uses the hook shot, and is safe.
Yeah, I mean, you hate to see it. Unfortunately, both players both gonna last location this progression, and then Walther, who throughout the seed has had slightly better routing, slightly better movement, slightly better execution overall, is going to maintain that slightly better lead, which is compounded into several minutes over the course of the seed.
Yeah. My only question is, after you steal the key, did Walter find the big key already?
I was watching, but he should. If he steals the key, he means he found the big key.
Fair. In these situations, do you believe the best is to just go and check the big chest, or you just go all the way to Laser Bridge?
I'm a big fan of skipping the big chest if you got to steal the key, but with the big key being vanilla, that's no longer an option. He'll need to go to the big chest to make sure that he doesn't ruin his life. It's a pretty big time loss if you don't have enough small keys when you get to Laser Bridge. And not being able to steal the key, it greatly increases the odds of that happening. So you need to skip. You need to do the big chest to make sure.
Oh, I was just I understand. I was just asking, wondering if you had stolen the key, if you'd go to the big chest.
I don't.
Okay.
I never do.
Gotcha. So we had
I think, like, twice ever I got ruined by that small key situation.
Interesting. So we had another vanilla big key here, and the small key on the big chest shows that if you went straight to Laser Bridge or Crystal Roller, you'd have a problem.
Yeah, it'd be a big time loss if you tried to skip it.
We have this on the way to Misermeyer, and at this point I have to wonder, do you believe that they know they're behind?
I think he probably is aware. Like it's clear to him that this is his last location, and these runners are very familiar with each other. I'm sure Nilsson knows that Walther is maybe on average a little stronger than he is. So when you last location versus somebody that you think is better than you, like, you feel super behind.
And Walter just walking into the chests for Laser Bridge. That is harder than it actually looks.
Wait, what did he do?
Instead of dashing into the chest.
Oh, he did the walk skip?
Yep.
Well, it's not that hard. It's not.
I think it's much practice. I think it's much harder than just dashing.
I learned them simultaneously. Like when I wanted to learn how to do Laser Bridge, those were both available to me as options, and I had a lot easier time learning the walk skip.
Gotcha. I learned the dashing from NMG, so I have no idea how to walk that.
Yeah, my NMG strat at the time was get the mirror shield, which is optimal.
Oh wow, lag shield, no. I
didn't even care about learning how to do the laser skips until I started playing Entrance Randomizer.
And as now we have seven crystals, there's a game we're supposed to play here. And I don't know how to activate that. Can you do that for us? We're on the way to Ganon's Tower. We have 22 chats.
Drasty's got it. There we go.
Thank you very much. So throw in your numbers between 1 and 22 to see where the big key for Ganon Tower is. If you give us a number that is not natural number or anything above 22 or 0, you're not going to get it right.
To answer chat, yeah, sure. I mean, Walther technically didn't last location of the cane because he never went to left side swamp. But if the only thing you had to skip was one chest left side swamp, I think we can call it last location.
It's a spiritual last location.
There you go.
So we have 2 checks here. What's your usual number, Koi?
I don't guess. I never guess.
Ah.
I don't want to inadvertently influence the seed somehow. Like I gave Walther the bow earlier, you remember? I said, oh, what if there's a bow here? And then so there was a bow there. I did that.
Yeah, it's your, yep, that's absolutely you. Yep. So we already had 2 checks for Walter here, making good use of his gold sword. All right, so checks 4 to 6 find half magic and a cane of Verna. So, Walter mirrors gonna check the left side now. And check 7 is the big key. All right, check number 7. If you said it first, you won. And Walter's gonna start his climb up the Ganon Tower. Silver's gonna definitely make it much easier using the statue there.
Yeah, totally expect a clean gauntlet out of Walther here with butter sword and silvers.
I admit that I'm more partial to the fire rod for gauntlets when I have the silvers. What do you think of that? Apparently,
Well, I
Walter
mean,
is too.
The fire rod's a fantastic weapon for the gauntlet because it one-shots everything in the gauntlet, but the Stalfos especially, they don't go through the burn animation, they just explode, so you don't even have to wait on them to die.
And depending on the lag, it can be tricky to hit those silvers on during this what do they call this, the walking floor, which
Conveyor.
word in English I forgot. Thank you. I apologize.
Walther will just need to make sure that he maintains at least half of his magic, because he has half magic. You'll want to have a full magic bar going up the rooms after lane mode 2, because that would keep you from having to pick up extra magic or switch to the lamp at any point. A little rough start to his fight here, though, with Silvers. Misses 2 of his shots. Nice 2 cycle, though. Gets it done fairly quickly. And he has plenty of magic for the rest of this.
I mean, worst case scenario, the last room before Modern 2 does have anti-fairies. They do have the powder and the full magic, so I don't think they'll be too concerned with that at this point.
Yeah. No, it's about the magic use for these torch rooms coming up, because you need 3 shots for this one, because you get a free magic. Free small magic on it dropped something. A free small magic on the way, and then you'll need another 4 shots for the second one. And then plus the 2 Samaria casts for the wizard rooms makes a full bar of magic. So if you have anything less than that, then you'll have to pick up the full magic in that room he just went through, which costs extra time.
And does it without a problem. Not gonna check the chests. They already have literally everything they could possibly want. Not even gonna bother with refilling health. They still have like 2 blue potions, right?
I'm sure they have something. It is like nothing matters anymore. They're so well equipped.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like,
There is no danger.
oh. This one gets the magic refill there, and Walter is entering Aghanim right now, and I was freezing a little bit. Oof, Nilsson having a hard time there. Decides to go for Cape Strats. Finds a small key. And Mini Helma giving Nilsson a hard time there. Anti-fairy as well. But does it. And Walter, out of that fight that we couldn't see very well, finishes Aga 2, and it's on the way to Ganon.
I don't know, maybe Sweden is like on fire or something.
Yeah, we don't. So we don't know exactly how
Like
that fight is going. What we can say is for stage 1 and 2 of Ganon, it's going to take about 6 hits of the gold sword, and then we enter stage 3, which is just going to be a few hits. You got to hit once, 4 times while Ganon drops the floor, and then you're open for silver hits.
Oh, we can see the end of phase 3. Awesome. Silver's my only weakness. Ah!
So Walter manages to get a hit there before the torch glitch, gets the torch glitch, no problem. Second hit, he's gonna have to torch it again.
Walter guessed really poorly. He was standing on like the bottom left of the room because he thought Ganon was going to teleport there, and then Ganon goes to the opposite side, and he misses that whole cycle.
All right.
But he gets it down. What? He's dead now, you guys. Ganon's gone. We killed him.
All
GG!
right. GG. And with an SRL time of 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 36 seconds, we have our first finish in Walter the Fourth. In the meantime, we have Nilsson entering Ganon Tower now. I'm assuming Nilsson's going to do the same, about the same pathing as Walter, so we'll be seeing the big king a little bit.
Yeah, Nilsson's on track to finish the game sub 150, I think, but he will be a bit behind Walther here.
All right, here Nilsson's gonna find the half magic and the cane of Berna. Going to steal the key.
Oh, there you go. I imagine we will get Walther in here in just a moment to make fun of him for the things he did wrong.
Well,
I mean, interview him about the things he did right. Hi, Walther. Hi. I wasn't making fun of you. I swear.
hi, Walter. GG's.
We can't hear you if you were trying to talk to us.
Walter seems to be having a little trouble there.
Do you think he's punishing me for teasing him? I'm sorry, Walter. I was just kidding. I love you.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes. Hi.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I just unplugged my mic and plugged it in again and it worked.
Well, better your mic than your controller or something.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But no, you take the win for old Swagger Jackson.
Yeah, it was probably sorely needed because otherwise we would have been down 0-2. Now it's 1-1, so that's feels a lot better for sure.
I don't think anyone can fault either of you for what happened in this seed. I think that's a pretty standard location to be the last check for everybody who would play the seed like this.
Yeah, especially in Ambrosia, like less incentive to go in there.
Like the only way you check Meyer earlier than that is if you're playing against like a Boyne or something, and you know you have to do something weird.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely thinking about doing it when I did Desert, but I don't know. I felt like Ice Palace was gonna be it. I was like, okay, hookshot didn't lead to anything. The only thing flippers led to was hookshot, so you need flippers and hookshot for Ice Palace. That's gotta be it.
Yeah, and then chat brought up the good point that because it's Ambrosia, Cold Stare definitely didn't have a small key. So
yeah, for sure. So like
the Mario logic definitely makes it more appealing.
For sure. So I thought that was gonna be it. I was kind of scared towards the end that it was gonna be Swamp Palace. That didn't feel too good because I only had Meyer, that one item in Meyer or Swamp, that left side Swamp Palace left.
Yeah, Nilsson did left side swamp, and so we were wondering if the cane was there, what would how things would have gone.
Yeah, I felt like bad leaving the mountain because the first time I went up there, I was like, oh, I don't have Moon Pearl yet. I even went into the Dark World because I forgot I didn't have Moon Pearl. So I was like, well, Moon Pearl is probably in Eastern. And then I saw the flute there and I was like, oh, that's not good. But I mean, I guess you had to go up the mountain anyways to get the Moon Pearl. So you can never do everything in one go. But I left Hera and stuff like that.
I wanted to ask you, why did you leave Hera? It made no sense to me at the time. Like, I could totally respect going up the mountain instead of going into Eastern. Even though you knew Eastern had something, it was likely just Flute or Lamp giving you access to the mountain anyway. So you went to the mountain, which I thought was totally fine. But you didn't do the whole mountain. You only did the right side, which I couldn't track.
Yeah. I was thinking the Moon Pearl was going to be in Eastern, and I was like, oh, just go grab the Moon Pearl and then head right back up again. But then, I don't know, when I found the Moon Pearl in Kingston, I was like, well, actually, I kind of want to do some other stuff instead. I'll go back up to the mountain soon, and then I just kept finding more and more stuff to not, like, force me up there again.
Ooh, so Nilsson had a moment of double KO with Moldorn there. That dude in the last hit, but at the same time, Moldorm takes its toll and controls Nilsson down. However, in the refight, we have a clear winner. Nilsson is on the way to Aga 2 now, and now we're going to actually see an Aga 2 fight because unfortunately we couldn't see yours, Walter.
Yeah, seeing that my feed is lagging a lot, I hope it wasn't like that the entire game.
Not the whole game. There were like moments for both of you with some lag. I assume, like, Nilsson's in Sweden too, right? Like, I know he's Swedish, but He's
Yeah.
also in Sweden, so maybe you guys are like on the same network and experiencing similar problems.
Well, I mean,
Well, not the same
Sweden
network, but
isn't
like the
that
same
small.
ISP.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't drop anything on my end here, so.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I wanted to ask you though, Walther, because you know, I've known you for a while, right? And I swear, for like the first year I knew you, you refused to do the blind script. Like every time I watched you do blind, you did like this weird Walther-specific strategy that was a little less optimal, but still worked pretty good. And I'd say, Walther, why don't you do the blind script? And you're like, I like the way I do it. But today you did the blind script. How long have you been doing the script?
I don't know, for a while.
All right, so I'm gonna ask you. Wait a moment. We have Nilsson entering Ganon right now. So stage 1 is gonna be 6 hits, as I said, and then stage 2 is gonna be another 6 hits, and then we have Silver Fight. Yep, Nilsson hits plenty, and a little bit more for good measure. All right, for this stage, phase number 3, you just have to hit Ganon once, so it starts dropping the floor. Otherwise, it's gonna send you a flamey bird. Nilsson misses the torch glitch there, but with silvers doesn't really matter that much anyways. Another hit. Does not try to go for doubles. Alrighty, one more arrow must do it, and the fight is done.
GG's to Nilsson.
Alright, with an SRO time of 1 hour, 49 minutes, and 20 seconds, NilssonAlex finishes seed as well. Let's give some GG's on the chat as well. And I apologize for interrupting. Please go ahead with the thing about the blind.
All right.
I'm really sorry.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's more time efficient to just do the blind script.
I was gonna say I was gonna make fun of you for waiting so long to do the blind script, and then ask you when you're gonna start doing top right for Armos, because your bottom right went really poorly today.
Yeah, that armor. Dude, I wanted to forfeit after that armor.
And we have Nilsson as well in the call. GG's, Nilsson.
GG's.
GG's, dude.
So, some more, yeah.
you both did it. Like, don't worry, Nilsson. Walther had just it's just as hard time as you did.
Yeah, I don't know. The beginning of the seed was like I have no idea what that was. Like, so many bottles and no progression. I was like, what is this? Are we even playing the correct seed, or what's going on?
So you both did a play that I don't agree with. Like, I personally wouldn't have done it, but it definitely paid off for both of you today. Going to Zora when you absolutely couldn't do the checks around it.
Yeah.
Instead of going into Eastern, because I thought, at that point, it's like, well, you got one item in Sick Kid, one item on Zora, which isn't even logic because at that point you don't know where the gloves are, and then like 7 items or 5 items in Eastern area, and both of you go to Zora first.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think I was
well,
actually
you got the
on
glove
my
first, and then you went to Zora.
I think I was on my way in to Eastern Palace, and I think we got the glove from Thrashhold's closet, right?
Yeah, and then you went to the back of Escape, and then at that point you don't want to go back to Eastern.
Yeah, and I was like, there's only one item that could take me to the mountain without, like fluid and all that stuff. And we had Zora and Logic, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going back to Eastern. There's like no way I'm going back. But I guess like it worked out a little bit.
Go ahead, Walter.
Yeah, I didn't feel too bad about doing Zora because it's like Zora itself is kind of annoying to leave behind, but like just leaving behind the fairy fountain isn't too bad. As soon as you have flippers, it's super quick to shake, and you can a lot of the times use sequence breaker when you do catfish as well, if you have like a bow or something like that.
I gotta say the dark pool was pretty stacked, so that was pretty fun to just be able to route the seed like the way you could do. Wasn't that bad of a seed, more than at the end. It felt pretty bad. Even dipped into Ice Palace, even though I was like, yeah, maybe it's in Mire, but
yeah, it could have been a super fast seed if
yeah.
It's just that one item who kind of threw us off. I guess Ice Rod was kind of late for me too, because I didn't float to Mire area for a long time.
Neither did Nelson.
Did
both of you, it was like this really awkward early game with like some logical, like there's something in Eastern, I don't know, but we go other places anyway. But you both get Dark World access, and then in Dark World, it's so amazing. Everywhere you go has all the things, and you always have a nice place to go, right up until the end. And then you're like, okay, well, now I'm out of nice places, and I still need an Ice Rod and a cane. Awesome.
Yeah, so when I got the Ice Rod from Mire Shed, I was like, okay, I got the green pennant in Desert Palace, I can clear that one out, and I will do my magic bat, and then I will just go up to the mountain, because I had pretty much everything left on the mountain that I left. So there's got to be a Samaria on the mountain. Like, there just have to be one. And yeah, of all the places in Ambrosia, you put the cane vanilla. Like, thanks.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
At some point in the seed, we're discussing. As soon as you route to to Hive Cave, it's like, do you think they're going to do Palace of Darkness? And Koi goes like, yeah, I mean, if they find a bow, and the second later you open the chest with the bow, and we're like, okay, that changes things.
I mean, I was actually going to go in there without a bow, no matter what, but it just made it so much easier to do it, and I knew that my flute was going to be in Eastern Palace at that point, so I was like, well, nice. I haven't skipped anything, I haven't lost any, like, I know I'm still in Logic, even though I went out of Logic, but that bow was pretty nice to have. But yeah, GG's to Walter. I knew I was up against a really good runner, and it just came down to that Samaria, so I can't feel bad.
Yeah, I mean that was the big thing the whole race. Walter's play was just a bit cleaner than yours, Nelson. I mean, you still did a great job. Still got the sub 150 even. But you know, just a little bit of seconds here and there, they just added up over the course of the seed.
Yeah,
and then
I
think was a 2 minutes loss by itself.
Well, I mean, I didn't really want to skip out on one item.
Yeah,
like
for sure. And it could have been the cane. Like, if it was the cane, this is a completely different race.
Yeah, I had a bad feeling. Like, when I had one item left, I was like, I don't want to skip this one. And it could be in the Samaria, or it could be in the Ice Rod. So I was like, I
was hoping at the end. I was hoping at the end that you'd start thinking like, well, Walter's a little stronger than me. Maybe I should do something crazy. But you did the normal thing, the things that made sense. Unfortunately, Walter also did the normal things that made sense.
Yeah.
When I left Swamp Palace, and because like, I thought that during the time I did it, I was like, this is an okay gamble to take. And then as soon as I left, I was like, wait. I'm actually not just playing for myself, I'm playing for my team as well. So I was like, the rest of the game, I was like thinking of good excuses to tell my teammates in case of the cane being on left side swamp why I didn't get it.
Yeah, I was really happy that you routed your way to Hobo, because Walter found that hookshot much earlier, and we were wondering if you check Hobo. And for a second, when you went to Catfish and then Waterfall Ferry, we weren't sure if you're going to go back there.
Oh yeah, I knew I had Hobo left, so I knew I had Waterfall Ferry left as well, so I was like, it's the easiest way to route in Hobo when I made the Pyramid play, because Pyramid into like all that stuff, and then Catfish, and it just felt like the best way to route it in at that point, for me at least.
Oh yeah, it was a really clean routing. So congrats on that. It was really good.
Well, thanks.
All right then. Do you have any final considerations for this, or do you want? Is there anything you'd like to add for today's race?
I mean, thanks for you guys putting us on the restream here, and I mean, GG's to Walter for winning, and never put Samaria and Meyer in Ambrosia.
Yeah, GG's, dude, and thanks for the comms and the tracking, putting the restream together, and I'm really hyped to see Game 3 tomorrow between Kern and Walkex doing all dungeons swordless.
Walkex has been complaining about that so much. Every time I talk to him, he's like, ugh, swordless all dungeon keys. It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to follow the runners, please do. They're excellent at Randomizer, as you've seen here. And if you'd like to learn something like I have, watching these people, please feel free to. And as well as the people commenting and tracking, thank you very much for this. Thank you very much, Koi. It was a pleasure commenting with you. And as they said, the match. Game number 3 is going to be tomorrow, so stay tuned for that.
Drop something else. I'm looking forward to it. Absolutely. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.